2025. Matthew, g'day.
Joel, Fletch, how are you, lads? Tourist?
We're going good. You're not so good, Matthew. You sound a bit croaky.
I've come down with a bit of stuff, Fletch.
Yeah.
It's a warning for you, mate. I think that my hard-living days have
Caught up with you.
starting to take a toll. It's sent shockwaves right across the Collaroy community. The man they've viewed as basically invincible, like a demigod, has come down sick. Oh, we're all mortal.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Feet of clay.
Might have been Friday. Might have been a little. We had a
Could have been,
we had a few
Fletch.
sherbets.
You lowered the immune
Tell
system.
you what
did
we were drinking. Shout out to the Spoon too, the great Pete Witherspoon. He said, "Have you ever tried Kahlua and milk?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd had it.
Love it.
It's an old go.
An old go.
Yeah.
Hadn't had it for years. Quite refreshing, and knocks you around a bit.
Right.
And settles.
Yeah.
If you've got an ulcer, settles your ulcer.
Was Chimesy Gillis
No.
in that back line normally? No?
No. It was a good game. I found it was quite refreshing. The Kahlua and milk.
It's a great drink. It's a great drink. It's like a lime milkshake. It's really good. And you're right, it just extinguishes that heartburn.
Matthew, we were just discussing the Bulldogs. I know we're going to get straight into it. Now, I've got them finishing top 4. Do you feel that they might get the second-year syndrome?
Oh, Fletch, look, I think my gut feel on the Dogs. I think it's a good year. Like the question I think around the Dogs, if you ask the Dogs fans and said, righto, if they did the same this year as they did last year, is that a successful season? In my eyes, it is, given the strength of the competition. With their fans, they might say no because they're expecting to go that next level. And that puts pressure on a young team, puts pressure on coach, all those sort of things. It takes a lot of mental toughness for a young team to come out of the blue, have a great season, and then can do it again. The point, probably the best example I could give you, the Cowboys. The Cowboys, might have been 2020, they had that Final Four season and so close to making the grand final. Could have won it easily, the competition. The next year you go, well, they're just going to take the next step, and they didn't fire a shot. And even last year, they were underachieved. They just haven't been able to do it. So that's the challenge for the Dogs. But, look, all the signs are good. Kevin Sorreldo's a terrific coach. And the thing I like about the Dogs is that they've got an established style that's different to everybody else. The main thing, if their desire's there, I think they'll, at the very least, it'll be the status quo. I think they'll finish where they did last year. It's going to be a hard top 4 to break into. If you look at, so you got Penrith, you got Melbourne. Those two, in my opinion, are guarantees. Let's have a look at the other sides around there. I'm missing one out at the moment.
Sharkies.
Sharkies, adding Fanua-Blake. I think the Sharks can win the comp with Fanua-Blake coming into that team. The reports around him have been amazing. And then you've got sides like the Broncos, who I think will re-emerge, and so on and so forth. So it's gonna be a really tough top 4 to break into.
I reckon it's a bit of a sleeper. Well, a team that I'm not, a lot of people are bagging them. They will be in my 8, the Roosters. So the last 5 years, boys, if you concede less than 21 a game, 100% of those teams have played finals.
Yep.
Robbo's teams will concede less than that.
Yep.
So I'm not panning them. But the sleeping team is close to you, the King of Collaroy. Manly. If you have Tommy Turbo and they could win the comp. I'm not saying they will, but they are a chance, aren't they, Matty?
Yeah, that they are. I think sometimes, the only thing about Manly sometimes, I think their football can start to look a little bit formulated. Like, couple here, let's push it there. Like they just, it's DCE, it's Tommy. They're the ones that sort of play that unorthodox football, and everyone else has just got to chip in a little bit. They're a funny team. Like, oftentimes they start the first 25 minutes of the game, they look outstanding, and then all of a sudden they just, for whatever reason, go into their shell. They just need a little bit of a, continue that attack a little bit, be a little bit more unpredictable, but on that have a tougher edge in defence. Like Fletch, we were talking about it. Excuse me, last week on the at the Ricky Stewart Foundation lunch, and back in the mid-90s, even though they beat us, I'd play Brisbane every week because Brisbane's mindset that every game they played, it was like 30-22. They might beat you. They'll say to you, score 22, 24, 26 points. We'll score 28, 30. The other end of the spectrum, you had the Raiders in 94, who were just, honestly, it was just horrible playing against them because they'd ping the ball around and they'd score 50 and they'd try to keep it to 0. And they were just so quick in transition. They'd throw the ball around and they'd hand it back to you. Ricky knock it down the other end of the field and they'd just bash you. They were just so mean-spirited. Manly need a bit of that. They've got to have that bit of tougher edge. If you look at Manly's wins through the year, a lot of it are those 28-24 games.
Yes.
They always give the opposition a chance.
I tell you this, and I still have to check it every time I say it. When I say, Penrith won 4 in a row, and I go, have they won 4 in a row? It just doesn't seem believable. It's amazing what they've done, right? And everyone talks about Nathan Cleary, and rightly so, but the more I look into these grand finals and what they've done, Matty, mate, this bloke Ivan Cleary, mate, he's still, I think, heavily underrated. I went back and watched that grand final. All their tries, Brian, and even the near miss to Taruva at about the 30-metre mark, they would send the ball one way because as soon as that happens, the other side start retreating. Every one of their tries, the ball would start going one way, and then they would come back on you because you know what it's like when you're marking up on a short side. But then as soon as the team starts retreating on the other side, no one's really marking anyone now. And they got them 3 times. That Martin try before half-time, even the Alamotti one, which is probably a bit more lucky with that. But he is a genius, Matty, isn't he? Oh,
and he's so good. Andrew Webster wrote that book with Ivan. I tell you what, boys, the things that book contains, and talking about the struggles that he had, when he left, first of all, when Gus said he needed a rest, that's been well documented. He went Tigers and he left Tigers to go back to Penrith, and that first year at Penrith was a disaster. And mate, he admits in that he was in a really, really bad way, but he's found he's found his way out of it. Not times like I like. People like not just sports people, but people who actually find themselves at rock bottom and then can find their way out. I think that those people have got a far better knowledge of themselves and how they operate, and so I think that's part of Ivan's success. He just hasn't had it easy all the way through, and the ability to handle. Right, he's got the best player in the world, right? But a lot of pressure, coaching your son, particularly those early days, and not putting that pressure that you're feeling onto your son. So he's done an incredible job.
When he was saying, it was quite interesting when he got up there. He was quite candid, and he was going, Nathan coming through, he was a good footballer. He wasn't that good.
No.
And he was saying it was actually easier sort of coaching him at the start because he didn't think he would get to the level where he was.
Yeah.
Like he said, I know he's a first grader, but I didn't really know. And so when you talk about, Ivan's a genius and that play they went to the right, I think a lot of it's Nathan too.
Yeah, probably.
I think a lot of he studies.
Yeah. It's funny, Fletch, when my young bloke Cooper and I interviewed Nathan last year, he said something, this year, I don't know, they all blend in these years. But anyway, we had spoke to him, and he said that he had a bit of a premonition that he'd come off his left foot and beat Adam Reynolds on the inside shoulder, right? And we spoke about that play, and he said, you know what? He said, I wanted the play before, but Mitch Kenny went the other way. And then I looked up and there was nothing on. And I went, I'm just going to call it anyway. And I called it, and all of a sudden, as I come off my left foot, and I just went straight through, I'd realised that I've gone through on Adam Reynolds' inside shoulder.
Wow.
It was that, but the thing about it is, I reckon, with people like Nathan, and you see a lot with Cameron Munster, is they're not just very good, great strategists. Well, Nathan certainly is, but it's that gut feel. You see with really, really great players sometimes, like would have been with Wally and it was with Joey, they look up and they don't recognise the mathematical equation of what's in front of them, but they just call it because they know it's there.
Yeah.
And they just go.
I'd love to see him get 5.
It's gone beyond 4 now. I was off him last year. So you've had 3.
Yep.
You don't want more, but now I'm with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want 5.
The big challenge is going to be, boys, if at some point in the year they miss Nathan for 8 weeks this time because there's no Jerome there, and if one of the young halves can do what Jerome has done, that's going to be the big test for him.
And the fact, it's if you're down by 8 and at the back of your mind, you're not going to. Are you really going to chase? You've got 4. You've already got 4 rings. Subconsciously, the desire.
Yeah. What about and Ivan's eye for detail and recruitment? So he picks up Cogger. Why does he pick up Cogger? He's thinking, who could I play with Nathan? He goes, Cogger used to play Australian schoolboys with Nathan. They work good together.
Yeah.
I'll go and see what Jack's doing. So he brings him down. Another game they're playing in Canberra, and late in the game comes on young Schneider.
Yeah.
and he gave him a headache for about 10 minutes, and he goes, I'll go and grab him.
Schneider. Why has he got Blaze? Why has he gone to get Blaze?
Why has he got Blaze?
Yeah.
I'd love to go back and watch the games.
Go and watch it, Chook.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it. I reckon you got to watch it.
I'll go and watch it.
D. Schneider.
Yeah.
That's right. Remember D. Schneider, lead singer of Twisted Sister?
Now, I know Rob Schneider is your man, isn't he?
Yeah, my man. And Matty Johns.
Yeah.
Did you, what did you do for the Super Bowl, Matty John?
Mate, I went up and I went with over to Nabes and sat and watched that for a little bit. But it got a bit, I was just a bit crook and had to take off early. But that wasn't that amazing. The halftime entertainment, nothing divides generations like halftime entertainment. Yeah. But you know, my young Blake Cooper pointed out that a lot of the stuff Kendrick Lamar was doing was giving backhanders to Drake and that sort of stuff. Yeah. Do you know what, brother?
Matthew, we call that dissing in the industry.
Dissing.
Yeah,
dissing. Do you know what? In my opinion, halftime of the Super Bowl isn't the time to actually diss, a guy you don't like, this other Canadian rapper. I just thought, I didn't think it was a great halftime. I think that I just expected a little bit more variation.
Yeah, but my kids' generation, like you were talking about, they were frothing. The tourists loved it. The tourist is a big pale-faced adios from Inverness, and he even liked Kendrick Lamar. I think he liked the bell-bottoms. I think they were good. I'd like to see you wear them.
I was going, where's Dolly Parton? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Kenny. Well, and not Kenny. Kenny's brown bread. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Hey, just on Dolly Parton, Matty, we'll go after the news here.
Do you have got facts on everything?
Yeah.
Fun facts on
No,
Dolly Parton?
I'm asking you a question. So
if you say double D's here, I'm out.
If you could go back in time, Matthew, to see any artist at their absolute best, mate, I'd love to go see Dolly Parton.
Really?
Yeah. Who would you go to, Matty?
Any artist at their best? Elvis would be hard to beat.
Yeah.
John Lennon. I'd love to see Elvis. That'd be good.
Slipknot for me.
Mate, Tism actually. Tism.
Yeah, Tism.
Matthew, thank you, mate. It's you're not feeling so well, but we appreciate you coming on there, and you've got Morning Glory coming on. We'll catch you soon.
I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior.
He's
boys.
an absolute warrior. Amy Drew with the news. And then back with plenty more. And, of course, the great man, Matty Johns. He's with the Beak, Webby. And that's all from 9 o'clock tomorrow on Friday. Listen to The Run Home with Joel and Fletch. What, you're still here? Well, you can see more on the Joel and Fletch socials and catch us live on SEN Radio, you beautiful humans.